If you have any, want to just say who you are and anything you'd like to address to the three of us? If not, we can move on. Mike.
Yeah, I was just wondering, Matt, from the Birmingham conference last year, do you think there's a possibility of a recall conference, considering that these issues are now all circulating again, just to sort of like say, well, this is where we are now, let's move forward? Do you think there's a... I'm just wondering, I mean, I can see that the issues around federal structure, and things locally, we could revisit those again nationally as well, especially with the...
So you're asking me first, but the...
across the panel. Yeah.
I mean, because of that event, it was Angus and Mandy in particular put quite a lot of hard work into making that event happen. We saw it as an open conversation rather than a commitment to do things in the future. So in one practical sense, it depends on who's up for doing that. I'm not going to speak for Angus and Mandy particularly, but I do think, there's a need for that sort of thing. And there's any number of people that could make that happen, and I guess it keys into the work that IVAR and Empower Communities is projecting into the future as well, would be my thoughts on it. I was just thinking about, well, I'm more involved London-wide, locally, etc., and that feels more like the thing that I can personally kind of do.
Can I say something about the... I can't answer that question directly because it's not for me to do that, but I can say something that I should have said when I presented about the how we're going to distribute and disseminate what comes out of the research. So I guess there's two things to say really, so I'm going to stand up because I'm not very good at projecting otherwise. One thing is that the idea of the research is to make the content that we generate freely available throughout the research, so that people can use it to their own purposes. So that if you are doing work in London and you want to tap into the data that we're collecting, it will have gone through the confidentiality and anonymity kind of rinse, but then it will be there as simply and clearly presented as possible, so that other people can make use of it if they are creating arguments or having meetings where they want to tap into that. So that will be available as we go along. We'll also be creating summary reports as we go along. In terms of the kind of event bit of all of this, it's not really, IVAR are not really driving that, but what I do know is that one of the things they want to do is have an event in December, which will be to test the research findings. I don't think they're going to open it to the whole world because probably they can't afford it, and they, I think at that point, want to just have a good range of people present who can reflect on what's come out of the research and help to refine it, not for the purposes of research, but the purposes of action that might come thereafter. What they're going to do to launch it, I don't know, but that would happen around February, March. I'm looking at Paul in case you want to add anything as a steering group member.
Yeah, just to say that I think the important thing is the purpose of the research. That there's two stages. The legacy from the Community Development Foundation was £500,000, and the research is meant to inform what that resource is best going to be used for. So it's very much a kind of, the research is the first stage of informing, of highlighting where the key areas of support should be. And I think that's really important. It's not just a piece of research that's going to be a piece of research, that it will be followed through with some, with a plan to implement it.
Okay. Thanks. Any other sort of quick questions, comments? Karen, yeah?
Karen from Bounty in North London. A while ago, a long while ago perhaps now, there was some training for commissioners coming back to your point and passion about, how commissioning should be well informed. And a while ago, London councils actually put some money into training commissioners, and I think it might be an idea that around that time it was about intelligent commissioning, which I don't think actually happened. So maybe we've got some unintelligent commissions as a consequence. But if we could kind of reinvigorate that kind of idea, training them in what community development is and how it's different from other things they might commission, that would be a good outcome from GLA.
Yeah, thank you for that suggestion. I mean, the commissioning group of the Way Ahead report, I think what's been interesting is talking to commissioners. There's a difference between the policy teams, who quite often do have a very good understanding of what they want to commission, and then they run into the procurement processes. So it's how you can make the kind of channel between the two more smooth, and also what's emerged a lot in both the commissioning and the co-production group is a lot of noise around the Social Value Act and how it's not being used properly or effectively or consistently, and the need for the GLA potentially and others like London councils to make available some much more clear guidance about how the Social Value Act can be used as an enabler of better commissioning.
Great, thanks. I'm going to move us on, but I know that both of our speakers are going to be around for a bit longer, so you can talk to them in the break.